Hello, my beautiful friends. Thank you so much for joining me today. Welcome to Behind the Magic, a podcast from Aradia's Closet, where we dive deeper into the components of magic. I'm Tanya, your host. I have all kinds of things planned for you, book reviews, how-tos, and interviews with some really amazing people. So if you want to gain a little more perspective on magic, tune in each week for more. Today, I'm with my good friend, Steven. Hi, Steven.
Hey, how you doing, folks?
We are diving into his library 10 books at a time. We're going to jump right into the first one. It is Out of Body Experiences in 30 Days, the Free Flight Program. This book is by Keith Harry.
PhD.
Okay, so this is
That's
by
an important
Keith.
kind of guy.
Yeah. Keith Harry, PhD, and Pamela Winthrop. And this was put out by St. Martin Paperback Titles. St. Martin Paperback. The year is 1989.
1989. I bought that in 1989.
1989. The safe, easy way to expand the sensual and spiritual horizons of your life. Ooh, intriguing.
Yeah. The Free Flight Program. I had a lot of out-of-body experiences when I was a teenager and well into my early 20s that I thought that if I purchased a book like this and did the exercises and that sort of thing, I could experience some control over them. But that didn't really work. And I was subject to just out-of-body experiences in my late teens and early 20s that were amazing, but also very scary because once you're looking down over your sleeping or apparently sleeping body, it really triggers your flight or fight response. Because when you're just wandering around the house trying to turn all the lights on, but you're not in your physical body, that doesn't work. It's actually very, very frightening. So yeah, this is a good book to teach you how to control those kinds of experiments. I'm not sure I made it all the way through the book. Eventually the experiences subsided. I rarely have free-form flight experiences anymore, but it's a very, very good book. I'm glad I bought it. I'm glad I read it. It gave me some very good perspective on what was happening to me.
Cool. Oh, I wanted to make note too that tonight's books, most of them are these little tiny paperback books. They're really cool. So the next one that we have, also another little paperback book. It's called The Witches Workbook, The Magic Grimoire of Lady Sheba.
Yeah, Lady Sheba was the star of Llewellyn Publishing Company for a while. She had the Book of Shadows out, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Nice stuff. It's interesting to look back on. It's a lot of goody two-shoes magic. I prefer mine a darker
Yes.
hue. So, yeah, good for you, Lady Sheba.
Well,
You made witchcraft safe for middle-class women.
It says here, The Secrets of America's Witch Queen.
Now, I wonder who appointed her.
Well, I'm appointing myself these days.
There you go.
The most complete guide to the secret wisdom of the old religion. The rituals, recipes, language, dances, tools, spells, and sabbats. Plus, the mysterious Book of Shadows. So this was put out by Zebra Books, which is published by Kensington Publishing Corporation in 1975, this particular edition. The Grimoire of Lady Sheba was copyright 1972 by Jessie Wicker Bell.
Yep. Probably something I bought off of eBay. I was really into collecting these little paperback books on witchcraft. These things were all over the place back in the 1970s. They really were. Louise Huebner, the official witch of Los Angeles, she had her own, The Power of Witchcraft. Really fun book. I like that book. So I started collecting these little paperback books that were prevalent back in the 1970s. This was a pretty good one. I wouldn't dismiss it entirely. But there's these the Book of Shadows, the laws. Your High Priestess has a list of laws apparently made up by Lady Sheba. I have no idea, but we witches really don't follow laws.
Yeah.
We really don't. We don't have a Ten Commandments. We don't have a witch's Bible. I don't care what you've read before, but we have no such Bible. And we're perfectly content with that idea. So thank you, Lady Sheba. Nice try.
But it's a pretty book.
It is a pretty book.
Definitely worth perusing.
Sure. You won't get in trouble with your mother-in-law if she sees it.
Right. So the next book
Maybe.
we have is The Complete Book of Magic and Witchcraft. This is by Catherine Paulson, A Modern Practitioner's Manual of Magic, Witchcraft and Sorcery. with all the ancient recipes, spells, and incantations essential to the black arts. And this was put out in 1970 by Pinnacle Press.
Yeah, boy, let me tell you about this little number right here. I bought this off the racks at probably Bookland or B. Dalton's or Walden's Books back in the day at the mall. It said a modern practitioner's guide to witchcraft. Nope, not that. Actually, it's some really dark stuff. We're gonna post the cover, right?
Yeah.
Our listeners can see the cover, right?
Right. If you're listening to this podcast on Buzzsprout, you'll be able to see the cover in the chapters of the podcast. But if you're listening to this on YouTube, I have a little slideshow of the book, so you'll be able to see the cover.
This has got a wicked cover on it.
I mean, the cover.
I love the cover. It's amazing. It's the complete book of magic and witchcraft, and it's spelled out in that kind of gothic lettering. All right. Then there's a very rare picture of what apparently is a demon or the devil or something like that, sitting on a trunk with his wings spread and a very, very large snake around the trunk that he's sitting upon. But this is another kind of great hits collection from medieval grimoires. Most of it's perfectly unusable, unless you want to sacrifice a black hen to some deity or demon.
Not today.
Not today. Not next week. We're all about some people for the ethical treatment of animals here. But, yeah, this is some dark stuff. I do like this book. It's one of the first books. I think I bought this thing when I was like 14 years old.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I was just knocked out by it. I highly recommend this book. But this ain't your grandmama's Wicca.
No.
No, baby. It's just not that. So be prepared to be seriously challenged if you can find a copy of the complete book of magic and witchcraft. It's been in print for many editions. Interesting thing about this book, though, it actually came out in hardback, okay, with apparently this cover on it, right? It's extremely rare.
Oh.
If you were to run across it, you let me know right
away.
Okay? And I'll buy it from you.
Another one for the library.
Yeah, I'll buy it from you real quick, like. Okay?
Okay.
Fair enough.
Well.
Happy thrift shopping.
Speaking of covers, this book here, Mastering Witchcraft by
I
Paul
love
Hewson.
it. Yet another classic.
A practical guide for witches, warlocks, and covens.
No, it's not practical.
Well, this book, I have never seen it in paperback, so it's interesting.
That's actually the English version. That's why I have that. I bought it off of eBay years ago, and I love this book so much that I have at least 7 copies of it.
Well, I've had 2 or 3 come through my hands. I've got one now.
Right.
But this particular print was put out by Corgi Books, a division of Transworld Publishers Limited, a national general company, and it was put out, this particular version, in 1972.
Yes.
But it's interesting, the first page of the paperback, the little picture they have here is the cover of the hardcover. It's embossed in the front.
That's right. You remember that. That's very good. Yeah, that's actually the what do you call it? The Wheel of
the Wheel of the Year.
Yeah, the Wheel of the Year. It's got all the Sabbats on it, and just an amazing book. I've always loved this book. I got this book in paperback, the American edition, which is pretty wicked itself. Early 1970s. It's really a book that requires much consideration. It's a book that my first priestess said that it's a danger to beginners. I very much doubt that, because it tends to weed out beginners real quick, because the book instructs you on how to make your basic altar tools, and just a lot of people are just too challenged by that. It requires buying a silver chalice, writing the appropriate runes on it, buying a small cauldron, which is we call it a thurible, and it shows you how to. There's a list of runes, magical runes. These runes are probably from they are from the Key of Solomon, obviously, but they're beautifully rendered. Paul Hewson has a very fine hand as far as art goes. So if nothing else, it's a great reference. It really is. I remember giving a copy of this book to my first priestess. She instantly took a disliking to it due to a certain mirror spell, which requires the operator to find 2 copulating dogs and buy a mirror. You buy the person that you're interested in a hand mirror, and you find 2 copulating dogs, and you recite an incantation, and then you give it to your unsuspecting
Well.
Love interest.
Well.
And when she or he looks into it, they're instantly smitten.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a little rough, but you gotta love Paul Houston. I mean, it's just his Mastering Witchcraft is considered a classic in witchcraft. If a lot of you out there, maybe you're younger practitioners, you've never seen it, you don't know about it, but it's traditional witchcraft.
It is traditional because it's one of our foundational books.
Yes, it is.
Because in Mastering Witchcraft, we get what? The Witch's Pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
And the corners of the Witch's Pyramid?
Will, faith, imagination.
To know, to will, to dare, to keep silent.
To keep silent, yes.
That's it.
An excellent book.
Yeah.
If you are a collector, if you have even passing interest in witchcraft, you should own Paul Houston's Mastering Witchcraft. If you're very fortunate, you own a hardback copy.
Yes, which I do. I got mine for $20.
Oh, very nice.
But I tell you,
a certain friend of ours got hers for free, but she didn't want it.
Yeah. It's a good book to have. You have to also read it with a grain of salt because you have to remember the time that it was put out. Okay, so our next book is really interesting. It's Knowledge Through Color, and it's part of a series of books, and this one is called Witchcraft and Black Magic. It's written by Peter Haining, and it's fully illustrated in color.
God bless Peter Haining. He was a hack writer, but he had some good stuff in there. He's also the author of a book called the Warlock's Book, which I'm kind of fond of, but it's a hack piece. It really is. I'm sorry, Peter, but probably no longer with us. No. But I originally bought that book in hardback, and it's beautifully illustrated.
It is. So this particular one's put out by Bantam Books. Published in 1973, this particular
God, I love the 70s. 70s sorcery was so fantastic. You could feel the magic in the air in the 70s. You really could. It was just great. But yeah, this is a Witchcraft and Black Magic. It's a small booklet. It's illustrated with colored pictures of all kinds of woodcuts, and a lot of the stuff is woodcuts from the 1600s, that sort of thing, right? And it's all kinds of historical examples of witchcraft illustrated. That's what I'd say. But it's quite a macabre little book, don't you agree?
I love the pictures.
Yeah.
It's not illustrations, it's actual pictures.
That's actual pictures, yeah. That's very strange stuff. And if you ever run across it, it's called Witchcraft and Black Magic, Knowledge Through Color. I remember buying it in hardback from the mall when I was 14 or 15 years old. My parents seriously wondered about me when I was that age.
I wonder about you still. So our next little paperback book here is called Today's Witches by Susie Smith. Love spells, drug rituals, devil worship, sex rites, secret societies, charms and amulets, authentic black and white magic used successfully right now. So this was put out in 1970 originally by Susie Smith. But then if you look at the title page, this gets so confusing to me. I'll read it all to you. Published by arrangement with Prentice Hall Incorporated. Award books are published by Universal Award House Incorporated, a subsidiary of Universal Publishing and Distribution Company. And then it goes on to say Tandem books are published by Universal Tandem Publishing Company Limited.
It's all quite confusing.
And then manufactured in the United States.
Right. That's the point. It's manufactured in the United States.
Ultimately, at the end.
Yeah, this is one of those sensationalist discussions of witchcraft that came out in the 70s, and it was more for, I don't know, I would say prurient interest. I mean, this is sex rites, devil worship on the front cover, secret societies, love spells, drug rituals. Oh my, oh dear. Yeah, lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, right. So yeah, Susie Smith, of course, was yet another hack writer, very much like Peter Haining.
Peter Haining, yeah.
Right. But Peter Haining was a more interesting writer than Ms. Smith, I'm sorry to say. But yeah, this is from the 70s, so it's kind of fun and camp. Yeah. It's super camp, you know, to read it, and it's just it's a lot of. Oh, look at this. This is a cigarette advertising in the middle of the book. What do we have here?
Kent cigarettes.
Kent cigarettes. Okay, mild, smooth taste, exclusive micronite filter.
Wow.
King size or deluxe, still kill you either way.
Yeah, I've never seen a cigarette
Kent menthol.
advertisement in the middle of a
Right, in the
paperback.
middle of a book. That's how much power the tobacco companies have.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say about these books written in the 70s. There's a lot of good information in them, but then there's a lot of stuff you have to take with a grain of salt. But you have to remember that this is at the beginning, the dawning of the real spread in the United States.
Revolution of magic.
Right. And so there was a lot that was still...
Glad I was there.
Yeah.
Really am. But yeah, it's kind of sensationalist stuff. It's 95 cents.
Wow.
Right, in 1970.
Way back in the day.
try to imagine getting a book for 95 cents.
No, at the thrift store maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
So the next book that we have
That's our old friend Peter Buckland.
Written by our friend Mr. Buckland. This is Ancient and Modern Witchcraft. The Truth About Witchcraft by a Witch High Priest, which is true.
Sure.
This illustration is courtesy of the Buckland Museum of Witchcraft and Magic, put out in 1970 by Publishers Incorporated.
Okay, one of the interesting things about the Bucklands were they were English expatriates, right? So they came over, they were initiated by Gerald Gardner. So they had that link with. And so what they did was they came over to the United States and started initiating people into Gardnerian witchcraft. And so Gardnerian witchcraft had a foothold in America. It was established by Ray Buckland and his wife at the time.
Yes, but Ray Buckland was a Saxon witch.
That's true, but that came after this initial book. I think I have that Saxon Wicca. Yeah, I got that.
Wicca, yeah.
Yeah, I got that somewhere. I don't know where. But yeah, it's a good introduction to the craft, and we're not such awful people. That sort of thing. A little history thrown in, New England witchcraft and that sort of thing, which is nice. Old England, New England. But yeah, basically what they were doing is establishing a presence in America.
Yes, in the 70s.
They started in the 1970s. So they started initiating people right about that time. Nice, cool little paperback to come across if you ever can. $1.
Yeah,
$1. Stand up and make you holler.
I have several of Raymond Buckland's books.
Yeah, the one we owned when we put together Godspell was the blue book.
Big blue book, yes.
Because we decided to start doing initiations fairly quickly. And so we needed an initiation formula.
Right.
And so everybody was all about the
Buckland's Big Blue Book.
Yeah, Buckland's
Yep.
Big,
It's another book to have on your shelf if you are a reader, a book person.
Right.
So
very good.
Yes. We have another little tiny booklet. A booklet, yes. This is a book of poetry.
No, it's not really a book of poetry. It's about how to write poetry.
Oh, it's about how to write poetry. Okay, well, the cover says poetry.
That's it.
And it's written originally in 1963 by William Lee. Yeah, written originally in 1963. This particular version is 1973.
Oh, good.
So 10 years after.
Yeah, I bought this when I was in high school. It occurred to me at a certain point, having read several spells and that sort of thing, that if I wanted to write my own spells, I should have at least an introductory book on how to write poetry. And this teaches you basic how to write poetry, iambic pentameter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, iambic pentameter.
Iambic pentameter.
Right. That's typically what you want in a chant. So if you so it was important for me to learn to write like that and write my own chants. So I don't know if this is probably not still in print.
No.
It's very, very good. It was published by the Kenneth Publishing Company, Chicago, Illinois.
Fundamentals of Poetry. Yeah.
And this is the 1973 edition. So yeah, this is let's read the contents. So I'll give us a better idea. There are verse forms. Okay, very much like music. You have a 12-bar, 8-bar, whatever. Devices of sound, devices of sense, stanza forms, special stanza forms, forms for analysis. It's actually really a jam-packed little book.
Yeah.
And if you can get a hold of some introductory book like that and do some exercises and writing some chants and that sort of thing, it's very, very fruitful.
Yeah, good book for
I like that
study.
little book. Always have. Oh, here's one of my favorites.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So our
Oh my gosh.
book 9 and 10. So book
Yes.
9 here is a hardcover, Witches and Their Craft.
Oh my god, this is one of the first books I ever bought or somebody gave me. I think I tricked one of my siblings or something like that into buying it for me.
It's got a great cover to it. It's put out by Ronald Seth.
He's the author.
And Taplinger Publishing Company.
Taplinger did a lot of stuff. They did a lot of weird stuff in the 70s.
Right, I've seen a lot of that as in cataloging.
Sure.
So this was put out in the United States in 1968.
Yeah. Okay, Ronald Seth. This is a pretty fabulous history of witchcraft. It starts out with a little story about how the author got involved in this. It seemed that when he was a small child, a beggar came by and asked for money at the door, but his mother and aunt turned the beggar away. And shortly after that, the child apparently suffered a serious decline in health. I think it was like a rash or something like that. It was very clear to his mother and the aunt there that he had just been bewitched because they were unkind to the gypsy beggar. Mm-hmm. And so that was his introduction to witchcraft. And so it'd been with him for a very long time. So this is one of the first books I ever bought or was given on witchcraft. Oh, it fascinated me. Mm-hmm. It's just fantastic. It really is. Witches and their craft. This is about witches and what they do. And it's got all kinds of historical profiles like Mother Shipton, Agnes Sampson and her coven. Agnes Sampson was a witch that actually, I'm not sure, but I think she was with the Aldern coven of Scotland. And she actually tried to kill King James IV of Scotland. Yes, she and her coven raised a storm to drown them at sea as the king was coming back from his honeymoon. But King James didn't believe that she was a witch. And then she approached the king and whispered something in his ear, and he was instantly convinced that because only he and his new bride could have known what that was that passed on their wedding night. Right. And that so astonished King James that he had her put to death.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there you go.
That's what they do to witches.
Yeah, well, what do they say in the craft? Keep your mouth shut.
Right, to keep silent.
Yes, keep silent. Because there are people out there that want to kill us.
That is true.
And if you doubt that, my friends that are listening, I wouldn't do that if I were you. I really wouldn't.
Keep silent.
Keep silent.
Sidebar. I was at the gas station today and struck up a conversation with the guy who was pumping gas on the other pump. And he's like, have you found Jesus? And accepted him as your Lord and Savior? I looked at that man. I said, I sure have.
Oh, good for
He's
you.
Like, all right,
there you go.
You have a good, And then when I was getting back in my car, I said, you have a blessed day now.
Yeah. Me, I'm often tempted to toss a hell Satan.
It's just so much easier to say, yes, I've accepted Jesus. I love him. He was hiding behind the couch the whole time.
The whole time. Yeah, who knew?
Okay, so the last book that we have, another hardcover, The Mystery Religions and Christianity, a study in the religious background of early Christianity. This is by S. Agnes, Ph.D., and someone else with all kinds of abbreviations to his title. Professor of New Testament and Historical Theology, St. Andrew's College, Sydney. This book was published in New York by Charles Scribner Sons in 1925. First edition, looks like. Yeah.
There was a time that I did a lot of work in comparative religion. I was introduced to that idea by Sir James Fraser, who wrote The Golden Bough. Mm-hmm. Okay. So this is a very kind of Golden Bough-like book. It follows, talks about how Christianity started out. And remember that all major religions started as a cult.
Yes.
Basically. Okay. So this is a very, very good history of the similarities between the pagan and Christian traditions. If you look at it, it's fairly obvious to see that Christianity absorbed a lot of pagan symbolism, a lot of pagan rites,
absolutely,
and that sort of thing. And I was very suspicious for the longest time because I am an astute reader. So when I first read the Bible, I'm thinking, oh, you know what? That reminds me of a previous Greek tradition, or something like that, right? It was fairly obvious, or some Roman tradition like Saturnalia. December the 25th. What?
Right.
Come on.
Right.
Yeah, once you get past the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus, you gotta wonder what your parents are bullshitting you about.
Yeah, they don't even know.
They don't even know. They don't want to know.
They don't want to know.
This stuff frightens them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was a blow against the patriarchy, and I love that. I really do. I have never been comfortable with patriarchal religion whatsoever. My first encounters with the divine was most certainly feminine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. That whole male god stuff, that didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look up in the sky, obviously what you're looking at is a giant orgasm. Right? Sure. It's all a giant orgasm. The stars, it's an explosion.
That's true.
Of sensuality.
Uh-huh.
So, yep, I love this.
We all love orgasms.
Sure, why not? Yeah, this used to belong to R. Edward Gales or Sales, right? So, yeah, this is something I probably bought off of, 1925. Nice.
Mm-hmm. It's in great condition.
It is in great condition, it is, isn't it?
It's 100 years old almost.
Oh my gosh, it is. Wow, that's amazing. No illustrations, but a lot of very, very useful information. Glad to have it on my shelf.
Yeah, if it reads anything like the Golden Bough, I'm sure it's fabulous.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Right.
What is the Golden Bough run to, like 24 volumes or something like that?
Oh, I have no idea.
I don't either. I got the digest.
Right.
I can't do anything other than the digest.
Super fabulous. That is our 10 books for the evening. Thank you so much for joining us again today.
Thanks for
Stephen.
dropping by, folks.
Yay.
I enjoyed that.